This is FlatHub, and Flatpak quickly became what I would say is the most popular universal packaging format on Linux. Yes, snaps do exist, and yes, some people do use them, but at this point, a lot of people don't even know why they don't like snaps at this point. As for app images, I would happily use these more often if more developers actually offered them. Now, recently, Linux App Summit 2026 took place, and as always, a bunch of really interesting talks took place. I don't believe most of them have been cut out into separate videos yet, so you will have to go and scrub through the 8-hour live stream to find each of them, which is a little bit annoying, but they are on YouTube if you want to go see them. But today I want to talk about one specific talk, that is Flatpak Next, hosted by Adrian Vovg and Sebastian Wick, both of Red Hat, but also both of the GNOME project. This was not the only talk Sebastian did on Flatpak. He did another one. This one actually was clipped out into a separate video, the State of Flatpak, but this one has kind of been overshadowed by Flatpak Next. In part because this was a big change, this is a big announcement, there are some big things happening here. Not actually implemented yet, but going to be happening. And this led to some drama, we'll say. But the fun thing is it's primarily not because of the talk. It's not because of Sebastian. Sebastian, he did nothing. Literally nothing. And it's not because of Adrian. We'll talk about what happened in just a moment. Let's talk first about what people are angry about. There are two parts that caused issue. Firstly, you see it on the screen right now, Systemd App D. Now, what is this? Well, this is a new component being worked on, which is basically a centralized permission management store, which, amongst other things, is going to eliminate the need for dbus proxies. Now, dbus proxies are this... I don't know what they were thinking with this setup. Basically, the idea is applications using dbus can see every other application using dbus. This creates a problem for a sandbox because you don't want other applications seeing what other applications are doing on dbus. The way they fix this is basically creating this idea of a dbus proxy. Flatpaks, instead of interacting with dbus directly, interact through a proxy, which effectively filter dbus and give it permission control. This is dumb, this is a hack, it's worked well enough this entire time, but it does really overcomplicate things. This new solution, amongst other things, is going to eliminate that problem. But it is Systemd, and if we go to the Flatpak website, there are distros listed as supported that don't use that. We have Alpine, we have Void, we have Geeks, Gentoo has the option of not using Systemd. What happens here? Now, before that, you might be wondering why I'm on the why I'm on an archive of the website. Somebody broke the SSL cert on the Flatpak website, so get to that. Anyway, the main version of Flatpak, the one we're using right now, this is being referred to as Flatpak v1. The next version is Flatpak Next, otherwise called Flatpak v2. This is something, this Systemd App D, is something being discussed for use with the current version as well. Whilst that has been the main focus of the drama, there is also a second part as well. That is this slide on X11, along with other things that I think are way cool in the X11 stuff, but X11, X-Wayland Satellite, X11less runtime, X11 extensions, root for X-Wayland fallback. Basically what is being done here is trying to introduce the X11 dependence for the remaining X11 applications available as a Flatpak. With X-Wayland, rather than having all of the X11 apps connect to one global X11 server, which is the way it's been traditionally done, it's the way it's done if you're running Xorg, what you would do is have each of the X11 applications running their own X11 server. You might be thinking, why would you do this? Well, much like with the dbus thing, where you can say, oh, the applications are sandboxed, well, if they're all running on the same X11 server, you can kind of just circumvent the sandbox by just going through X11. That is a problem for doing sandboxing, and the developers want to resolve this problem. At this stage, this is being worked on with Wayland satellite. If you make use of Niri, you've probably heard of this. Basically, it is a desktop independent way of running Wayland. It allows you to build a Wayland environment and then not worry about having to do that Wayland integration and just pretty much bring it in from a third party. It's not as nicely integrated, but it does work pretty well. I've been using it for the past year or so and have pretty much no issues with it. There are some limitations at the edges, but for the way most people are using it, it's gonna be totally fine. I'm not certain about this, but I do feel like some of the Wayland developers probably want to move in this direction as they move further and further away from X11. You can still bring in support if you want, but they don't want to have to go and deal with it themselves. Now, the very important thing here is at no point in the talk does Sebastian or Adrian mention that X11 is going to be dropped. Keep this in mind because it's going to be very, very important in a couple of minutes. Also, every single thing discussed in this talk is in the design stages. No code has been written. Maybe some little bits have been written since the talk, but nothing substantial. You, as a logical thinker, might assume that Adrian and Sebastian are getting spammed with questions and, oh my god, there's like lots of harassment going on. This is so terrible. And I'm sure they certainly did get some questions, but for some reason, that's not the focus. That's not the focus whatsoever. I don't even know how this happened, but the questions got directed at George Castro from the UBlue project. Just so we're on the same page here, he's not only not an active Flatpak developer, I don't know if he's made a commit to Flatpak. Yes, he does work with containers, and UBlue does have Flatpaks, but he's not a Flatpak developer. Why is he the person you're asking? He posted addendum to my LAS talk. Again, not George. Also, neither of these people are George. He is saying addendum to this talk. Gamers are going to save open source. This is also a great talk. That's what he's talking about here. I don't think people realize that Flatpak Next basically fixes everything. Browsers will use their own sandboxes, Steam, password managers, etc. And a new VPN portal, all of the razor burn goes away. All we need to do is gather a bunch of Rust nerds. I would like to amend my statement. The gamer kids and the Rust kids will save Linux, and the ops people will help them succeed. He is saying the discussion that happened in Adrian and Sebastian's talk is also relevant to his talk. But people decided to say, he's saying addendum to the Flatpak Next talk. Let's go and ask George about Flatpak Next things. However, George had every opportunity to not have this happen. Instead, what he decided is he is going to give people snarky remarks about this and, I guess, not try to resolve the issue of the fact that he is not one of the developers. Someone asked, I see the slides in the talk make repeated mention of creating systemd services. What does this mean for distros that use Flatpak but don't have systemd? He said, I don't know, ask them. Response to that, I'm asking for clarification. Will Flatpak Next / Flatpak 2 depend on systemd? Obviously, there's like a communication issue here, right? He's saying, I don't know, ask them. I guess in his head, he is assuming that this person understands, oh, I'm not actually a developer here. Like, I don't actually know the answer. Instead of then confirming, no, I actually don't know. I'm not a developer. Are you serious? Of course. Of course it's going to depend on systemd, which he doesn't know because he's not a developer on the Flatpak project. Or another one, I would really rather it not, especially since systemd seems to endorse merging AI slop, which welcome to open source in 2026. He said, this is modern Linux, there's only systemd. We don't have to engage with this. We could have just chosen, I'm not involved in this, I'm gonna step away, clearly there's some confusion here, let's not get involved. But it keeps going. Honestly, the greatest thing about Flatpak for me is that it offered you true freedom with your OS as long as it had Flatpak. You could have some weird custom system with FreeBSD utils and deinit CTO instead of systemd, and it would still be used because Flatpak abstracted away those details and gave developers a platform to target all of Linux, not just more commonplace distros. This move has ruined the greatest thing that Flatpak has done for Linux as a whole, which is the universal platform system. What move? What are you talking about? Post the thing that he said earlier, have you begun working on supporting all the weird custom things you want? Yes, I've been maintaining for these kinds of things for a while. I myself have volunteered to be a Flatpak documentation writer and have wrote several guides on how to port existing software and games to the Flatpak platform. So then you know what to do. What do you need me for? I need you to listen to people instead of immediately jumping to, if you're not a maintainer, you should not have a say on this. You and the Flatpak team are important for the overall health of modern Linux as a platform, and you're just being obnoxiously blind while doubling down on these ideas. Again, let me remind you, not a developer in the Flatpak project. Do you want to know the funniest part about all of this? Adrian and Sebastian never said that only systemd was going to be supported. In fact, Adrian said this, frankly before the Feddy dogpile, I was planning to be super considerate of the non-systemd use cases. So pardon me, but I'm not feeling inclined to spend my time on that shit anymore, not worth it. This is self-inflicted damage. None of this at all had to happen. None of this had to happen if George didn't decide that today he's gonna start fighting with people on a project that he doesn't work on. Do you remember the whole GNOME systemd thing? Adrian wrote that blog post. He was working with OpenRC developers to make sure that they can still support GNOME without systemd. Whilst upstream was going to focus on systemd, he never had an issue with things besides systemd working and was actively going out of his way to help them. Sebastian even put out a blog post a couple of months ago talking about the functionality being used here and how this is a kernel feature and you don't actually have to use systemd to do it, but systemd is a nice standardized place to have everything being done because systemd is pretty much the standard on Linux nowadays, but you can write something that uses the same functionality and still have it be working. One last thing on this one, then we'll go to the next part. Oh, huge shocker. What shall want to depend on systemd after they started adding age verification, plumbing, and APIs? Firstly, they already had a field in there to store your address, so I've talked about this in the past. Just say you hate privacy and autonomy and get out of FOSS development, thanks. Of course it'll use systemd. What else would it use? Have you considered keeping it init agnostic instead of helping governments who want to collect excessive data by tying the superior distribution agnostic package system to systemd? What happened to being distro agnostic? At this point, what you say, I am not a developer on the project. Stop asking me these questions. What are you talking about? We're targeting the 95% everyone is using systemd. We're not targeting anything because there's no we here. Why have we done this? What was the point of any of this? As for the X11 part, he said, no. The reality is, Flatpak Next removes all prior legacy tech. X11 are knit systems no one is using. Even poor package kit didn't make the cut. Again, never stated whatsoever. That's just made up. Yes, there's going to be an X11-less runtime. That is all. That is all. You can still have X11 applications in Flatpak Next. That was never said. In fact, it was so never said that Sebastian talked about supporting X11 applications. This entire drama never had to happen. There was no reason for this. Yes, people are going to talk about the System D stuff, and yes, I'm sure some people are going to be like a little bit angry about that, but like the core focus wasn't even about the talk, it was about comments from a developer who is not even a Flatpak developer talking about his own talk, and then like people assuming he's talking about the Flatpak Next talk. The worst part about all of this is there's actually really cool stuff in that Flatpak Next talk which nobody is talking about. For example, network sandboxing. We don't have that right now. There's no way to do network sandboxing. That's actually a really cool change. Frankly, I don't even want to address the rest of the comments that George made because he started jumping into random other threads that he wasn't tagged in just because people were talking about the System D stuff. I don't know why. I don't know why he decided to do this and kept doing this whole snarky remark thing as if he was a Flatpak developer and he was taking things away. Basically, all that he did was create a problem for Sebastian and Adrian that wasn't going to exist otherwise. I don't know if he just felt like trolling people, he just wanted to rile people up, because there was nothing productive that was achieved here, right? At all. This could have all been stopped after he said that initial post just by saying, I'm not a developer on Flatpak Next, I'm just giving my thoughts on why I think this is good. And then nothing else happens. Instead, that's not what happened. And everyone just had this like weird communication error where they assumed he was a developer on the project when he's not. And this was just dumb. This was actually just the dumbest drama I've ever seen. Well, dumbest drama I've ever seen this week. Again, do go listen to the full talk done by Adrian, done by Sebastian. Go and listen to the talk that George did as well. Both of these are great talks. And the content on the actual talk, yeah, I have no problem with it. I'm just going to end the video. I'm actually just going to end the video here. This was dumb. Anyway, if you liked the video, go like the video, go subscribe as well. And if you really like the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, go subscribe as well. Let me know your thoughts down below and what you think of this whole situation going on. Yeah, anyway, want to become one of these amazing people over here? Patreon, subscribe to Daily Barapay, link in the description down below. That's going to be it for me, and why?
Something like this.